You've got this amazing experience around OKRs, but tell us how it all started. Let's give us a little bit of the backstory.
It's an interesting story. People ask me all the time, how did you get into organizational strategy, organizational development consulting? Because I am a former fire chief, and it just doesn't seem like a very logical trajectory from public safety into organizational strategy. But in my case, it was almost inevitable because the kind of the twisted arm of fate started working me early in my career with the city. I had a fire chief who was keenly interested in what back in those days was total quality management. Perhaps you remember that, and all the principles that went into kind of the Malcolm Baldrige Award process. And he wanted to incorporate those best practices into the way we managed the city's department. And he found me and said, you're my guy. I'm going to send you to whatever seminar or training you want anywhere in the world. I need an expert for this that can come back and teach this to all of our different leaders. And so I became an internal champion of an effort with the city of Austin that we called Managing for Results. Very similar to objectives and key results. We just didn't call it that. We didn't call them outcomes. We called them desired outcome statements, our objectives. We didn't call them key results. We called them performance measures. Same concept. And because of our efforts to truly revolutionize the way government manages, in 2001, the fire department was recognized by the Malcolm Baldrige Award for the highest achievement in total quality, the only government organization in the history of that award process to win that level of recognition. And since I had been the champion, the Baldrige Award process invited me to become a site visit evaluator. So I started traveling all around the world for Baldrige, parachuting into organizations, and I would assess their practices against best practices and prepare a report for them. And then almost every time I do that, some CEO would pull me aside and say, "What do you charge?" And before I knew it, I was consulting. In fact, I have outlined a book called The Accidental Consultant: How to Turn Bad Luck into Good Fortune. Because, Vidya, as you know, during my journey as a fire chief, for better or worse, I was in charge during some pretty epic events. I was in charge when we had our worst structure fire in the history of the city. It burned up an entire city block. I was in charge when we had our worst 1 year ever for fire deaths from fire, people dying from fire in their homes. And what we did in response to those events through our journey with Managing for Results, trying to get to the root cause of the problem, teasing out the data, building objectives to turn that around, was a huge role in me becoming a consultant, because we literally, in both cases, it wasn't the failure that mattered. It's what we did with the failure and what we learned from it and how we were able to pivot based on what we learned and save lives that truly made the difference. And I published some articles about that. And so I got put on the speaking circuit. I took my signature talk, which is called The Good, Bad, the Ugly, Case Studies in Performance Management. I've given that around the world. And so it just seemed inevitable that all of the stars were aligned for me to become an organizational strategy consultant. I've been doing it since 2005.
It's like the universe had something in store for you all the time. So, and from there, you became one of the leading global OKR coaches. So that's such an awesome story here.